How y'all doing? Shay Bell, Bell Heritage here, and we're going to show you how to install your hidden gun safe, okay? So, a couple different ways that you can install it. If you want to install it differently, that's completely up to you, but this is our recommended way to install the gun safe. So we got one already hanging on the wall here. We got it hanging with just two screws here in the top left and top right corner here. You can also put 4 screws in the bottom left and the bottom right to make it 4 corners there. I think that's a little overkill in my opinion, but rather go overkill than underkill and have it fall off the wall, right? So we're going to take this thing off the wall and show you guys how we would recommend you install your gun safe. All right, so what we did initially is we started by finding our studs, okay? So in our wall, we already know where our studs are, but you can use a stud finder and just find those studs if you don't know how to use one. But we got one here, we got one in the middle here because it was an odd length for our wall, and then we didn't have one over here on our right side, okay? So right where I want to hang it, I'm going to now use a wall anchor, okay? So we recommend using a heavy duty wall anchor. There's not a lot of weight to your gun safe, but when you add your guns and all your ammo or whatever it is, it's highly recommended to grab a too heavy of a wall anchor rather than go too light and have it come crashing down. So we have some 60-pound wall anchors in this one, and then we're just going to use our stud on this side, okay? So basically we just mark our studs on the wall with a pencil, and this wall anchor we can do later, okay? So but we basically mark the stud because we know we want to put one in that stud, okay? So once we're done with that, we're going to grab our hidden gun safe here. It's recommended you have 2 people for this, so one guy can hold the gun safe, make sure it's perfectly where you want it, and then we'll start drilling our holes. I did it by myself, so I'm going to show you how to do it when you only have one person. All right, so now we're going to get the exact holes dimensions, the distance from the edge of our canvas print that we want to drill our holes, okay? So I know I want the center of my canvas print right on this stud here, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure over 13 inches. Make sure you check your dimensions. Make sure you got the 26-inch frame. It should be pretty close to that, okay? So but I'm going to measure over just 13 inches, okay? So that's the outside of my frame is right there. Now I'm going to check to see where the stud's at in that measurement. So I can see that from the outside of my frame or the middle of my frame. So from the outside of my frame, it's 5 inches to the stud, or from the middle of my frame, it's 8 inches from the stud. Okay, I also want to make sure I do it the correct distance from where I want to hang it height-wise, right? So I know I want to hang the bottom of my hidden gun safe right here at this point, okay? So I'm going to just measure up from the bottom of that, and it's 17 inches up from the bottom of the canvas print is where I'm going to be putting my hole in my stud, okay? So we're going to now switch to the gun safe and show you guys how we drill the hole and how we get the holes to line up on the wall. All right, so we got our hidden gun safe on the table. A little easier to work with when it's higher in there rather than have to bend over on the ground or try to do it on the wall. So our boards are 3/4 of an inch for the outer framing here. So we're gonna mark up just basically 16 1/4 inches up because our mark was at 17 inches. So we already have our hole pre-drilled pretty much, so it's perfect. It lines up at 16 1/4. And then we were looking at 5 inches from the outside, so we're going to go 4 1/4 over to there, and boom, it lines up perfectly. So what we would do when in the case when we don't have our holes drilled is we would just mark a tiny little spot there, okay, and then we would move on to the next step, okay? And we would do that, and the next one over we're not going to do until we have it on the wall. And we have our gun safe level. So I'm going to take you guys to the next part. We're going to show you how to drill into the hole, into the wall, and get your gun safe lined up. All right, so we would start again. We'd make sure that we have the outside line of where we're going to put the gun safe and the bottom line or top line. I recommend bottom line because nobody's 8 feet tall. and going to be hanging it below eye line, right? So do the bottom line there to where we're going to hang it, and it's going to be pretty level as we go. So basically bottom line, outside line, then we're going to grab our safe here, okay? This is where it's really handy to have a second person to help, so you don't have to try and hold the gun safe on the wall while trying to drill, okay? If you absolutely have to put it on by yourself, then you can, but again, highly recommended you grab a buddy and have them help you with it. So we just basically line our safe up where we want it to be, okay? So where the lines are on the bottom, where the lines are on the outside. So I need to come this way just a little bit, and should be pretty good right there, okay? So now from there, making sure, again, because it moved on me, I'm gonna put a lot of pressure on it up against the wall, okay? The friction should hold it for the most part, and then I'm gonna drill through my hole that I have, okay? So once I drill through that, we already have our holes drilled on this one, so I'm not gonna actually drill. But once I drill through that hole there, I can go ahead and grab the gun safe off the wall here and put it on the ground, okay? Once you do that, you'll have your mark on the wall there that you can easily grab a screw and put it in there. So we're going into a stud, so we don't need to use an anchor on this one, but we will on this one, and we'll do that here in a second. Okay, but let's go ahead and hang our wall safe in the initial hole, and then we'll get to the second hole and finish the installation up. Okay, so again, it's very handy to have somebody else to help you with this, but so you don't have to do this step. If you have somebody that can help you, then you can just screw this in while they're holding it. Makes it a lot easier. But what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to find the hole on the back side of this, and then I'm just gonna press that in. And now I'm just gonna screw my screw in just a little bit with my hand, okay? Very handy to have jeans on for this so that I can grab my drill very easily. And now I'm just going to screw that thing into the wall there as I go, okay? So I'm gonna get it tight enough to where it can hold pretty easily. Okay, so that's gonna hold pretty good there. Now, I'm just gonna let it swing down there like that. Okay, you don't want to let it set in this position too much, too long. Okay, it should hold here. You shouldn't have any problem with that. The frame's plenty sturdy with just one anchor there, but we just want to make sure we get two in and support it a little better as we go. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab a level, and we're gonna level our wall frame, and then we're going to drill another hole in this side of it to find our other point, our other anchor spot as we go. So I'm going to cut to the next frame, show you guys that. All right, so we're going into our final couple steps here. So we're going to take a level and a pencil here for this step. We're also going to have our drill. It's handy to just have it on your hip, on your pocket here, if you have jeans. So just basically going to level our wall safe on the wall. So we're going to get it to where our bubble is right in the center of the level. We're then going to just mark a tiny little mark on our wall over here on the corner, and we'll use that for later. Okay, but then we're just going to set our level in our safe there so it's out of the way. We're going to take our drill, and we're now going to drill through our hole here, level with the other one, and we've already marked it kind of with the other one a little bit, okay? But we're going to just drill through our drill in this spot here, okay? So we want to make sure we're using a smaller bit than our screw for this one, okay? So we're using a smaller bit than the screw here. We're just going to drill through it, drill all the way through the drywall there on the back end. We already have done that step for this wall safe, but so we're not going to actually drill it. But you will drill it there, and then just let this slowly let this back down, okay? And then we're gonna move on to our wall, putting our wall anchor in the wall back here, and show you exactly what to do for that step. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our drill with the recommended bit size, okay, for our wall anchors. So what we're using is just this wall anchor here. It's a 60-pound rated wall anchor. We recommend going heavier than you think you're gonna need. for this. And so we're going to take our drill. We're going to have our drill point on the wall from the previous step, and we would just drill through that hole in the wall, make sure we hollow it out to the right dimensions, and then we would take our wall anchor and we would press it into that hole. Sometimes you need a hammer, or we use the bottom of our drill there and just give it some light taps into that wall. And now you're set for the final step, which is putting in the screw and attaching the wall safe to the wall, right? So we're gonna go to that final step here for you guys and finish up the installation of your hidden gun safe. All right, so we're to the final step here of the hidden gun safe, and this is where putting the pencil mark on the wall comes into play, because we're going to just put this back up. We don't have to re-level it or anything. We're going to put it right back up to that mark, and now, since we did that, this hole should line up perfectly with the wall anchor behind. Okay, so we're just going to get started there with our hands, and then we're going to take our drill here and we're going to screw it in tight to the wall, and then we're going to tighten our other screw over here, and we are done with the installation of the hidden gun safe. So that's how you install, or how we recommend installing the hidden gun safe for your guys' purchase. So we hope you enjoy the gun safe, and if you have any questions, reach out to us and we'll be happy to help.